This lesson is 10.7 on the volume of prism and cylinders. So, good news. I think volume is a whole lot easier than surface area. The reason is we're not worried about just what's on the outside, we're just calculating what all the space of this is. So we can have a prism that has a rectangular base or a triangular base. But for either one, the volume equals the area of the base times the height. So, for example, if doing this triangular base below, volume equals base times height. The base in this case is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height of the triangle times the height of the prism. So looking over here, first thing, identify your base. So we have here's our base area, which is this triangle. The base of this triangle is 12, and the height is 16. The height of the prism is referring to the part that gives it 3 dimensions. So we have 1/2 times 12 times 16 times 10. So here we go. Because it's just multiplication, the volume equals 960 centimeters cubed. The reason and key thing to remember here is our units are cubed because we multiplied 3 numbers together that are all measured in centimeters. So if we did centimeters times centimeters times centimeters, that equals centimeters cubed. So always when finding the volume, make sure that your units are cubed. And be careful, so in this case we didn't have to use this number. So I may give you numbers that you don't actually need. So the volume of a cylinder is very similar. We still use the volume equals base times height, but the area of the base here is pi r squared times the height. So let's try an example. If our height was 11 feet and our radius was 5 feet, how could we find the volume? Well, it's simple. Rewrite the equation and then plug in what you know. So volume equals pi times 5 squared times 11 equals V equals pi times 25 times 11, which equals approximately 864 feet cubed. The last type, you might get a more complicated solid that's a combination of shapes. So looking at the image to the right, a solid is composed of a rectangular prism and 2 half cylinders. Find the volume of the solid and round to the nearest cubic meter. Well, the first thing you do is the same as any other. You find the area of the base. So in this case, our base is a combination of a rectangle and 2 half circles, or 1 circle. So together, they'd make 1 circle. So the area of our base is going to equal the area of the rectangle plus the area of the circle. So in this case, we know that the area of a rectangle is length times width, and the area of a circle is pi r squared. Well, we need to look at this a little careful to figure out what r is. In this case, we know our dimensions for our length equals 6 meters. And this here would be the other dimension, which is the same as what's above. So it's 4 meters would be our width. For the circle, if the width here is 4 meters and that spans across the circle through the center, then that means our radius from here to here must equal 2 meters because our diameter is 4 meters. So now we can substitute. 6 times 4 gives us the rectangle, plus pi times 2 squared gives us the circle. So our base area is 36.566 meters squared. We can then find the volume by multiplying this base by the height. And in this case, the height is this distance here, which is 3 meters. So 36.566 times 3 meters leaves us with approximately 110 cubic meters. So Make sure you spend time writing this down very clearly, and you may have to rewind and rewatch a section, but we'll do practice problems in class tomorrow. So that's all for tonight's lesson.